Welcome to SSSD Beyond the Hill, the official podcast of WKU Student Support Services Disabilities, also known as SSSD. I'm your co-host, Mr. Jimmy Martin.
And I'm your co-host, Katie Eversole. Here we explore the incredible resources, opportunities, and stories that empower students to succeed at WKU and beyond.
Each episode, we will chat with special guests, whether it's a student, staff member, community leader, or whoever, to share their stories, their insight, and advice, all to help you thrive and be successful at college.
Whether you're looking for tips to navigate college, learn about campus support, or hear stories of perseverance, we've got you covered.
And special shout out to our producer, Miss Ella Galvin, who's making all this possible behind the scenes. Shout out, Ella.
We're so glad you're here. Now let's dive in.
Today, we are joined by two outstanding professionals who are dedicated to the work they do and for advocating for first-generation college students here at WKU. Today, first, we are joined by Dr. Cierra Waller? Not yet, no. Okay, by Cierra Waller, who serves the Associate Director within the Center of Involvement, Teaching, and Learning, or CITL. I'm just going to say CITL because that is way easier for my brain here at WKU. Cierra helps lead the First to the Hill Academy and other first-generation initiatives here at WKU. Cierra is a passionate about guiding first-generation college students to the transition into college, providing structures and support through workshops, mentoring opportunities, and confidence-building activities. We're also joined by April McCauley, who serves as the academic programming specialist within CITL, where she helps with the first-gen living learning community, as well as other first-generation initiatives. April ensures that first-generation students have built-in networks of peers, mentors, and staff providing ongoing workshops, study sessions, programs that are designed to foster connections, academic success, and belonging. Welcome, Cierra and April. How we doing?
Great. Thank you, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
No problem. To kind of kick us off here, whichever you would like to start, kind of talk to us a little bit about your journey and how you got to where you are at this position at WKU.
You want to go first?
Well,
Rock,
sure.
paper, scissors for it.
Well, I'm going to start way back because
Okay.
I'd like to talk about my first gen
Yes.
journey, right? So, as many other first gen students can identify with, my parents worked construction. My mom too. She could lay shingles around, most of the fellas that helped them out through the
Nice.
years.
Breaking the stereotypes.
Yeah, we're hard workers. So, and then my dad later on was an industrial electrician, and my brother is
Gotcha.
following in his footsteps. So we did not know about going to college. We
Yeah.
knew nothing about going to college. And I heard a lot, you make good grades, you should go to college. But nobody explained what you should do when you get there.
Uh-huh.
It's
totally different.
How do you choose among all of these things that your parents don't know about? I mean, I work here now, and people still have to explain to me what different majors are, right?
Mhm.
So we really didn't understand. So I did that, and I did have good grades. I started with a full ride twice over and lost it because I had no idea what I was doing.
All right.
But then after that first year, it smoothed out. You get the hang of it. And I only changed majors probably 4 or 5 times. And
Not bad.
right.
Slightly above average.
Yeah. So I finished school and went out and got a degree that I felt like was responsible. So I went into human resources. I made great money, paid off all of my student loans.
Heck yes. Look
Yes,
at you.
cha-ching. And then I finally got my HR generalist role that I had been working for like 9 years, but it happened to be in a terrible place. And I was like, this isn't really what I wanted to do because I was being responsible.
Right.
And I tell students all the time now, choose what you're excited about because it's going to be a lot easier to get up and go to class, 3 semesters from now. And that's based on my own experience. Because I figured it out 10 years after I graduated, right? So then I went back for my master's degree, and I thought I would work in a museum. That didn't work out. But so I'm a first-gen student twice over, so bachelor's and then master's. Neither of any of those things, none of those things did my family have any idea about. And so there was a long stretch, and still even now I feel like, it's the stereotype politically and professionally. I mean, there's a little bit of a gap there. So I think that the next lesson I would say is to take your family on the journey with you. You know, take your syllabus home and go, oh my gosh, I have to do all these things. You know, show your family assignments that you do, things like that, so that they go on the journey with you. So got my master's. Then I stayed home for 7 years with a child.
Nice. Well done.
Yeah, right. And so then I came back to WKU based on my master's experience, worked in the archives for 3 years. And then back to my business experience, I went down to continuing in professional development and worked in non-credit training for about 5 years. And
What is that, just for kind of like the audience?
Okay.
Non-credit training.
So in a university setting, it's non-credit if it doesn't count toward a degree.
Okay.
So that could be anything from Excel classes to
yeah.
industry certifications. So there are a lot of, like phlebotomist tech, for example, is an industry certification. Really, you know, you take training, but it's the certification that gets you the credential. So I worked with a lot of things like that, you know, and that HR background really helped to coach people along into, you know, this is what needs to be on your resume, and then this is what you need to look for in job postings so you know if this credential is even helpful to you, and, you know, kind of putting all those points together. So, and then from there over to CITL. And then I don't know if Cierra will talk about this. I don't want to take her part, but we may or may not be part of CITL. So we really focus on student success and retention. So CITL does too, but in their own way.
There.
But yeah, so you know, no matter where we sit on campus, that's what our focus will be, is on retention, and we'll come back around to how we do that, I guess, in a minute.
I know, I'm obsessed with it. Well, because I love snapping, but then
Oh.
so it's the snapping. Yeah, you just
Silent applause.
Yes, yeah. Because I don't like, because this is too much. So you just give a little, like, you're cooking.
Oh.
No, that's a good thing.
I
Cooking
know,
is
but
good.
Still. No. April, what is your hometown?
Well, I'm from Kentucky, so I'm not from Scottsville. I'm from Allen County.
Oh, okay.
Ew,
There
sorry.
you go.
Yes.
Wow. That came out so involuntarily. That might be the most natural moment we've ever had.
Oh, like when you talked about barbecue in Owensboro
Yes.
for 30 minutes?
Hey, that was fun.
Now,
Owensboro barbecue is good. Now, hold on. We're going to
Moonlight?
relitigate that another day.
have you
Yeah.
been to Moonlight?
I don't know what that is.
Okay. No,
Okay.
she has not had the cultural
so
experience.
then-
No, who was it who was it that was on with us?
That was Melinda Grimsley.
Yeah, 30 minutes talked about barbecue in Owensboro, and Elle and I were just like, okay, we were just here for the ride. Was that really rough day, or which one was it? Marissa, Melinda? Melinda was the one where like we had the flooding, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that one was.
I may or may not have driven to Owensboro specifically to go to Moonlight
As
Barbecue
you
and
should.
drive all the way back home again.
There's a
In the
probably
same day.
Done.
also
Well
a very
done.
good Chinese restaurant in Owensboro. So we just need. Can we just change our staff retreat to Owensboro?
No, I've already paid for it.
Yes.
Okay, well, I'll find a how-to in Owensboro so we can eat there.
Sierra,
Anyways.
please save us. Talk to us a little bit about your career, where you're from, all that jazz, and then how you got to this position working with first-gen students at WKU.
Awesome. So I am from Bowling Green, Kentucky.
Hey.
Born
So
and
which
raised.
high school?
Bowling Green High School. The best
Purples,
one
purples,
that there
purples. All right.
is. Silent hand clap,
Loud
audible
hand
hand clap, all the things. But I'll start with my journey starting with my grandfather. So my grandfather, actually, James Cosby Jr., he worked for WKU. He worked in the kitchen as a chef, of course, at a time when he was not allowed to
Right.
attend. And so his generation, they were cooks, domestics for local families, and but they were really passionate about education and service. Like that's something that they instilled in us. Since WKU had a lot of minority students, of course, that were coming here, they'd invite them to church, feed them, and so we've always kind of had this kind of connection here. And my mother started her journey here at WKU. Of course, had a kid and didn't finish, took a long time out, and so our generation of our grandfather's kids, we were the first generation to come and get our degrees. Now, I say that I am first gen because I did start my journey as a first gen college student.
Right.
But with me going back to school, I got into Vanderbilt University, so I was the first. I was the first in my family to go to school out of state as well. I
Not
had
just an
cousins.
out-of-state school. Like, that's one of the best schools in the country.
Right.
It's a decent school. It's a really good school. I say that WKU pays my check. So, but my mom was like, I want to go back and finish my degree. So she came back at the same time as my brother came back, and so she graduated from here, sociology, criminology,
Nice.
in fall of 2006. And so I started my journey in undergrad as first gen, but by the time I had finished, she had got her degree. So that's a really powerful thing, that after 20 years of being out of school, she came back and got her degree here. Big shout out to the sociology and criminology department, because we have a lot of adult learners here. And she didn't feel out of place, right? And she's first generation college student, but also first generation college student as a adult woman with adult kids, coming back into an environment and starting from scratch. And so she was able to, I know one of her professors in sociology talked about how she was able to talk from the experience of like being in industry, working, and then coming back. And so kind of gave that conversation to the class, which is good. So
I would also like to point out that it was not Cierra that was the child that made her mom not be able to complete college in the first place. That was some other.
Yeah,
that was a different child.
It was the oldest child. I
Okay.
was the angel child.
Of course.
But we were raised kind of with that perspective that education came first, because it was not allowed for the previous generation of our family. And having that heart of that. So going through school, I knew I wanted to go to college. Didn't know where, but worked really hard. I knew our family didn't have money to pay for me to go to college. That was something that they would tell me all the time. Now, my mom lied a little bit. She kept telling me that.
Now, hold on. You're not going to incriminate anything, right?
No,
Okay.
no.
No statute of limitations or anything?
Yeah, she kept telling me that they had a college fund for me.
Oh, no.
So I was like, oh, awesome. And she was like, keep your grades up and do these things. Really taught me about being resilient. And so then the end of my senior year, I applied to all the schools that I could. I had a lot of offers, but I applied to Vanderbilt, Yale, Duke. I applied to WKU.
You were not playing around.
I was not, because I found the cheat code in high school. I was the guidance counselor's student worker, and so she taught me about fee waivers for because I had free and reduced lunch. So she taught me about the fee waivers for not only like your ACT, but for college application processes.
Yeah.
So, cause I was like, Vanderbilt's application fee waiver then was $50. Yale's was $70, and Duke's was like $72. And I was like, I don't have this type of money. So that's another barrier, right? Just to even apply for some of those schools, you're looking at being out of $200 or $300. And she was like, no, I can write you this letter because you get this, you have free and reduced lunch, which made it possible for me to apply to schools outside of just WKU, because I did have a fee waiver for WKU. Got into Vanderbilt. It was a very exciting time, and actually got to go visit campus in March for their like multicultural weekend.
Oh, what a good weekend.
It was great. It changed my life. I came back and I was like, I have to go to Vanderbilt. And then we looked at that price tag and I was like,
Ooh.
how can we afford to go? I'm like, is this college fund enough to cover this $50,000 price tag? And my mom was like, no, but just keep working. And so I ended up getting a full academic and needs-based scholarship to go
Heck
to Vanderbilt, which my parents wouldn't have been able to afford. Also found out that I had no college fund. The college fund was me working hard enough to get a scholarship. So
Yeah, that's a bit dubious.
yeah, it was a bit. But going to Vanderbilt, being a first-gen student, I had a lot of imposter syndrome. I felt like I was the dumbest of the smart, is what I used to say a lot. But learning the different processes, the aid process, being an out-of-state student, because even though it's Tennessee, it's still out-of-state. So learning how to process that. Also being in a place where I didn't have money, but people had real Prada bags. Mine was fake. So having to fight stereotypes of, there were some that would say you're here off of affirmative action. And so, but we had a lot of great professors that would stand up for that and say, you know, to get into a school like Vanderbilt, it's not just your grades. Because there were several students that applied when I was in high school that didn't get in. It's your grades on top of your community service, your involvement, places like that. They want to know that you're a well-rounded student. It's easy to just stay in your room and get the grades and not contribute to any other factor of the school or the university. What speaks more to an admissions team, of course, is if, let's say, you have that 3.8 GPA, but you also worked. You played sports. You were over the prom committee or something, that you had these other leadership and things, and you were still able to balance your academics with your social. And so I tell that to a lot of our students kind of coming in. But it was a great experience. Graduated from there, I'd say barely. But
you got that piece
I
of
got the
paper.
degree.
That's all that matters.
So
Yeah, your GPA is not on your diploma.
Exactly.
It's
Fun
not
fact for
something.
everyone
Yes,
who's
it's
listening.
not on there. As long as you get that degree. I found out my senior year. Of course, I was expecting my son, so that changed the trajectory of my pathway there. My major, I guess I should back up and say, at Vanderbilt was one that was actually created by a student.
Wow.
So, of course, going to Vanderbilt, everybody tells you should be a doctor, right? Like, that's another thing that first-gen students deal with, is the idea of careers being promoted to you. So you're good at this, you should do this. And if I don't know about other professions, we knew about doctor, lawyer, teacher, you know, educator.
Business person.
I did not know what engineering was. Like, to be fair. So my boyfriend is an engineer. So when I met him at Vanderbilt, I was like, what do you do? Like, you conduct trains? Like, what is it?
Engineer.
What is it that you do? I have
Right.
no idea. But going there, it opened me up to all these different things. And I thought, okay, I'm going to go be a doctor. So I need to major in a science. I didn't like chemistry too much. I'm decent in biology. Let me go there. And taking those classes, I was like, I don't really like biology. I'm not that great in chemistry. I was not good in calculus. Now, I failed calculus hard. I worked hard for that first F. It was hard. Now, I retook it, and I passed it. C's do get degrees at some
Yes,
point.
they do.
I was not going to learn calculus at a higher level, but that led me to finding a different major called Medicine, Health, and Society that the student had created beforehand, because there's a lot of people that want to go into medicine, but they think to go into science. But we know with doctors, you do better when you have a broader perspective. So that major had classes in like the history of medicine, sociology, English. It was a really broad way to look at society and the needs and kind of how education impacts those kind of things. And so it was a great major choice for me, because I was able to take a variety of classes. Graduated from there with that degree. I was graduated in May. I had my son in June, started grad school in August.
Jesus.
Right.
So knowing that, and of course, being a first-gen grad student, no one in my family at that time had been to graduate school. Not even my mom. She didn't go to graduate school. So learning that process, switching gears, because I thought at first I wanted to go to law school, right? I was like, maybe not health, maybe law. I like to help people. Like, what other career can I have? Still hadn't thought about education, higher education at all.
Especially for first gen, like it doesn't ever seem like an option.
No, I mean, and even looking at my professors and advisors there, that I wouldn't have thought to ask them like, hey, how did you get to do what you do? But when I came to grad school here at Vanderbilt in the public administration program in the political science department, I got to be a graduate assistant. So it was great because I was able to get a stipend. It paid for my tuition, and I got like a monthly stipend of even then it was like $1,300, so it allowed me to live.
Yeah, same. Graduate assistantships are highly recommended.
They're great. And
If you're going to
so
grad school, you almost definitely need one.
you need one. You definitely need to ask about that. So in that, I got part of my work, the 20 hours of work that you have to do with the assistantship. I worked in the political science department. So I worked with Dr. Gordon, Dr. Audrey, Dr. Cash, Dr. Lasley now. I was able to teach a class, to be a teaching assistant, which was brand new. Help learn about advising and kind of advise some students and I'm like, I really like this. Like, I really like higher education. And from there, I finished out my grad school with a internship at the Bowling Green Chamber of Commerce.
Oh, wow.
Great. I was the Leader in Me campaign coordinator, so I finished out the internship, got that job. It was grant funded. Corporate America, that's not even really corporate America. It is not for me. So
I couldn't do it.
I reached back out to my contacts that I had made here at WKU, and I was like, I want to work in higher ed. I don't even know what I want to do. And my mentor at the time, Dr. Audrey, she's still my mentor, she told me, maybe start with advising. You like to help people. You're really good on policy. So that kind of was those transferable skill sets. And you're really interested about disparities. Because when I was working in Vanderbilt with health, I was really interested in like health disparities and like gaps of access. And so I applied to probably about 20 jobs here at WKU. Finally got a part-time job as an office associate for 2 different offices, then in the Institute for Citizenship and Social Responsibility, ICSR, and at the time, Diversity and Community Studies. So I got that part-time job, making $10 an hour, no benefits, so I have a 2-year-old kid.
Oof.
And I was also working still part-time at the Chamber of Commerce. I was on a grant-funded job there, so $10 an hour, again, no benefits. But I took that leap of faith in that I don't like who this one job is making me become. I'm going to fully go into the higher ed. And I did, and I worked that for about 9 months. Then an academic advisor position came available in Potter College. Used that network and applied for that job and worked for Potter College for 7 years as an academic advisor and then a student services coordinator.
That's a long time to be an advisor.
I was an advisor about 3 years.
Okay, that
and
seems
then
like
became the student services coordinator, and that's where all my transferable skill sets work together. So when you were talking about psychology and like, I think I was able to use a lot of the different things I learned from my classes. Then when the job became available in CITL, I still had imposter syndrome. I was not going to apply for the job that at that time was the assistant director. I wasn't going to apply because I thought that I didn't meet the qualifications. I thought it needed to be a faculty member. A colleague said, hey, you meet all these requirements and more. Just apply. And I did and got the role, and I'm glad I did because it's been the best trajectory for me to be able to work with students and retention and give the advice that was given to me. So now I can tell students that are thinking about med school and different things like, hey, you don't have to major in a science. You can major in this. So it's been very fulfilling and rewarding for me. And that was a long time, sorry.
No, you're
no,
fine.
it's a
I
great
love it.
question.
Something that I pull out of that is just the sinister element of imposter syndrome. And I just thought this.
Said I have a follow up, and that was my follow up.
Yeah, this journey from I'm going to apply to Vanderbilt and Yale, and I'm just going to do it. And then when it came up later as a professional to apply for a position, you know, it's just like it creeps in.
Yeah.
And it, you know, and the amazing thing, and you said you couldn't picture yourself working in higher ed, but the provost is first gen.
Yeah.
We have multiple deans who are first gen. I mean, campus is full of not just students, but employees and higher administration people who are first gen. So, I mean, we have to fight imposter syndrome wherever it rears its ugly head.
Just kind of off the top of your head, do either of you know how many faculty or staff are first gen? Because then we have the network.
We have a network of over 200 faculty and staff members, but some of them are first gen, some of them are advocates.
Okay.
But I would say probably about 80% on that list is first gen.
So at least, what, 150, 160 plus?
Yes. And then through our programs, we have faculty and staff that realize, like Wayne Simpson said, we were doing a program, and he was like, wait, I'm first gen. I didn't realize that. And so we have people that even through that journey realize it. We also have an alumni advocate association. Through our alumni association, we have first gen alumni advocates. And so there's at least 20 from the association that are advocates there. So it's a growing population. There's about 31% of first gen students here at WKU. Nationally, that's becoming up. I just came back from a conference. I think it's upwards of 50% of all students entering into higher ed are first gen.
Wow.
And that imposter syndrome is real, and that's one of my passions working locally, because I'm also involved in quite a bit of community things locally and on the school board. But
hey, elected official.
Thank you. But that idea of like what's promoted to you and access and exposure, right? So I didn't know that there were these different career fields. I knew I was starting to learn my strengths and the things that I like to do, but I never would have thought of higher education because I thought you had to be, I don't know, this intelligent person with these amazing credentials. I didn't know that there were other roles in higher ed outside of just being a faculty member.
Well, first off, you are very intelligent. You have a lot of credentials,
Well,
so like you are well suited for the seat you were sitting in, and a few above.
But you still have
high
that
performer. The definition of high performer in the dictionary has Cierra over. You said it before. You're like, you're not
But you
playing
still
around.
have
No, she is not.
But you still have that feeling of like that imposter syndrome, and so that's I like to tell students, you know, it doesn't go away. It's still a challenge that you have to like beat back with a stick at each different level that's new.
Yeah.
Because you're breaking a barrier, and then you kind of have that self-doubt that creeps in that like, well, maybe I'm not. But part of being on a job, just like anything, you get on the job training. So you're not supposed to know everything. You're not supposed to wait until you're overly qualified for a job to apply.
Well, because then by the time you're overly qualified, then you're going to want more money, or you know, you've been other jobs making more money, so you know it's less of a attractive offer to go into an entry level. Before we jump too far, Katie and Alec, y'all know what like imposter syndrome is? Y'all understand kind of what that is, right?
Yes, it's one of my soapboxes.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Talk to
yeah.
us
Go,
about
Katie.
That. Go, yeah.
Listen, so I attended a conference. Was it a conference? It was a summit. In DC, and we talked. It was a trio summit, and one of our big discussions was imposter syndrome. And so, like for me specifically, like I am not first gen, but I basically am. Like my mother did graduate.
First gen adjacent.
Yeah, my mom graduated with a bachelor degree, but she doesn't use it. She's been in her position for I think 20 plus years, and it's not what her major is, which is totally fine. Like that's completely fine. But then when it came to like college, I did everything on my own. Like I did the scholarships, applications. I was in my counselor's office every single day, like, hey, how do I do this? What do I do that? And like all the different things. And so I like with going in trio and everything, I've learned a big thing of imposter syndrome and like what that is and how it affects students. But I think also a lot of times our trio students, a big thing is they feel that like that imposter syndrome comes with a sense of like it's not enough. Like especially for me, like I feel like all these things that I'm doing on campus, I feel like it's still not enough. Like I feel like I have to prove myself to be here, because it's like if you look at my family, like my family, I mean, 3 of my dad, my stepmom, my sister all went to college and dropped out to have a baby. My mom went to college, but then got the degree, doesn't do anything with it. So it's like, okay, if they couldn't do it, if they couldn't succeed in that way, why am I doing it? Yes. And so it's like, for me, I'm accelerating everything to the highest extent possible. Like I've already started working on my master's with the JUMP program, because just in my mind, I'm like, oh, well, I have to prove myself to be here. And a lot of our first gen and limited income, and especially our students with disabilities, often feel that. And it's very specific. When I went to this summit, we were talking about like first gen the whole time. And I was like, yeah, like first gen, but I was like, okay, what about students with disabilities? Because imposter syndrome is really prevalent in those students as well. And so it's just like, you're always advocating for your peers and for trio students no matter where you are. Like, and I talked to Jimmy about this, and not to hate on this summit, because it was a really great experience. I enjoyed it thoroughly. It was amazing. But I felt like I was advocating for trio students at a trio summit, because we weren't talking at all about students with disabilities. And so I was sitting there, they're talking about imposter syndrome and saying, hey, don't have imposter syndrome as first gen kids. And I'm like, okay, but me sitting here, I feel like I'm an imposter because, one, I'm not technically first gen. So why am I here and not a first gen kid? And I think probably about of the 30 of us that went on that trip, because it was 30 selected throughout the whole nation and our our territories. I think of the 30 of us that went, 5 of us weren't first gen. But I was sitting there, I was like, why am I here if I'm not a first gen? Like, if we're talking about first gen. But then I also felt like I was advocating, I had to be the advocate for students with disabilities, because they started saying some whack things about students with disabilities. And some of the comments made by both the students and the staff that were leading it were very like, not ableist, but very off, very like not PC. And some of them were honestly offensive as a person with a disability. Like, I was told that I should see my disabilities as a blessing. And I was very much like, I was like, no, that's not. Well, but anyways.
So, but Katie, I think you're saying exactly what you need to say, because to me, imposter syndrome is you're never going to be qualified enough. You can be the most qualified person in the room and still have imposter syndrome. To me, what it's about is if you're there and you're stepping up, which you did, you stepped up and you were an advocate, that's how you overcome imposter syndrome. You're like, I am here, I am stepping up. That's all it takes. I mean, and
but
you know, I'm in the room, I can breathe, you know, like I deserve to be here. But it's just, are you there and are you stepping up? That's it. That's it.
Go ahead. I think the biggest, like you were saying, for me, the way to overcome imposter syndrome is to help everyone else. Like, and I mean, Jimmy and I have talked about this.
That's how I do it.
I mean, like, my whole thing is like, I'm always like, okay, if something's going wrong and it's just me that's being affected, okay, whatever, I can deal with it. But the second it starts affecting my peers or like my, like those that I work with or whatever, like once that becomes an issue, I'm like, okay, I'm stepping up and we're fixing this. And I think a lot of first gen limited, all of our trio students, first gen students, they feel that too, because a lot of times, especially when you have where it's like your first gen limited income and maybe you don't have the best kind of home life, you feel that where it's like, oh, well, it's been happening to me this whole time, so it's okay that it keeps happening, but I'm not going to let it happen to others. And I think that's where a lot of our trio students, like on that trip, on that summit trip, a lot of us are going into higher ed or politics. Like one of my guys he's planning to be president by, I think it was like 2036 or something. I was like, okay, you get my vote.
Right.
But I think
depending.
No, he gets my vote. He gets my vote. I love him. He's great. Shout out Zach. Anyways, so I think a lot of our students just kind of feel that need where it's like they don't feel like they're allowed to be upset about the things that they're going through. They feel like they can only be upset when it's their peers. And I think that you guys being here in this podcast and us working in trio, I think everyone on this campus is doing a really great job. Because I mean, this is my 4th year here. I'm a senior, Al, and automatically,
Al, let's seriously, congratulations.
Anyways, I've seen such a high prevalence of people caring for first gen that I didn't see as much my freshman year. Now, the part of that's just being a freshman and everything. But, like, I now that I've been introduced to it, I've seen how much it's grown. And I think everyone in this room wants to see it grow. And, like, I mean, you guys just pulled off an amazing first gen camp. Like, that was awesome. I heard all the little kids. They were like, like
the little kids who are, to be fair, 3-4 years younger than you are.
Yeah,
Listen,
they're going to be seniors, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they were just seeing them, and like they're our future. And so I think you guys did amazing at that, and getting to witness that. I was just working at the desk watching TikTok, but like just getting to witness that, and those conversations that were being had were awesome and everything. So I don't know. That's my
I think that's
soapbox.
part of that work. Like you said, that sometimes we get too focused in on one subset of students and don't realize that can be the journey for any student.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that, you know, we try to take away from even with our first gen programming, it's open for everyone. Because even if you're not first gen by definition, you may still identify with that experience. You may have parents that have degrees, but maybe you don't have an attachment to them, or that's just not their journey in learning how to kind of teach you that way. So we do kind of like open our programs with that sense, because first gen students are varied. There are some first gen students that do not have imposter syndrome, that are very driven, very
confident,
that have social capital, navigational capital. They've learned how to own that, right? And not because and so that's why we kind of focus on like that asset base, not like a deficit. And I think the trouble in that is when some people start to be like, oh, well, this is only first gen students experience this, not disabilities, all students can experience this. And the hope should be, by us kind of concentrating on a group of students, that we're moving towards universal education.
Yes.
So if we try to right size this and make sure that first gen students can come along, low income, students with disabilities, students of color, and all students, white males, white internationals, right? Then we're focusing more on the aspect of getting towards universal education, where, you know, we can educate all, but then you can also take out that piece that speaks to you and your experience and advocate for you and those like you. So that's the goal. I mean, I'm sorry that you had that experience, but also too, it taught you hopefully a good thing about feeling that fire in you to say, hey, I can speak out against this.
Right.
I can also say, hey, I'm back here in the room too, and I deserve not only a seat at this table, but I deserve a voice and a platform. So good for you for advocating for that.
And we're never just first gen. We're never just female. We're never just neurodiverse.
Well, when you talk
we're
about
always several things.
intersectionality of all your identities and stuff like that, for someone who is multiple layers of, gosh, I am blanking on the right word. I can't find it. But when you face multiple barriers, like that can really challenge your experience, especially even to get to college, but then to get good grades enough to pass, right? That can be really challenging. Ella, I know you're dying to get on the mic. She messaged us like 10 minutes ago.
So I'm not first generation. I am second generation. But in a sense, I have done some things that my parents never did. My parents went to the local college.
Right.
They both that was back when like grades, you got full ride scholarships. So they both college was completely paid for. They both lived at home. Very much, although they got their degree, did not do a lot of what I've done. So I was one of the first people to be in Greek life in my family, which was a whole big can of worms. What is Greek life? All the stereotypes of Greek life that my parents had heard. I was the first one to, live away from home and in a dorm, and so them dropping me off, that was major. And I also am in a completely different state, even though I'm only 2 hours away. It's still a new state with, new roles and things like that. And yeah, just a lot of what I've done, my parents are like, I can't believe you've done this, because that was not our college experience. So just in a sense of even students who parents, like you said, did go to college, they still are doing things, their parents never did, and things. I know I hear so many people that are like, I'm the first person to join Greek life, and my parents are so against it, and because they don't know what it is. And I think that's a way with a lot of people is like, why are you doing this? I've never heard of that, because that wasn't when I went to college, but it's changed a lot in the last 30 years, 20 years, like opportunities and things at college. So
Well, I mean, it's difficult if you think about student success and you try to build something that works for a generic student, because there's not a generic student.
There never
Right.
is.
So first gen is just one way to reach students with who they are and where they are, right? And so is Greek life, and so is military support services. And so, you know, there are all these parts. So it really is one thing that fits in a broader picture, but it's a way to touch, that sounds terrible, a way
we
to
got you.
reach
Yeah.
students.
There you go. Yeah.
You know, based on a kind of something that they're struggling with or something that they feel is part of their identity. And I think that's the way we can do it. And that's going to change. You know, I think
Yeah.
if you're a freshman
Different
and sophomore,
generations.
it's a bigger factor maybe than it is when you're a junior. And then when you're a senior, you remember, oh, wait, I'm a first gen student and my social network doesn't maybe encompass the profession I want to go into. And then suddenly it's important again. But and that's true, I think, of all the different parts of us that they're to the front and then not so much. And then you remember, oh, wait, yeah, that's me too.
And I think that's how we've kind of tried to build the programs, right?
Yeah.
So with our first gen programs, we have workshops that are open to the general student population. Now we will say that it has that first gen focus, right? So we have like the art of conversation is one of our popular workshops that we've had. We do like a financial aid, financial literacy. We focus on career, but then we have cohort programs for targeted students that want to take part of this experience. So it does have an application process. With the LLC, we have a first gen LLC, and it's a smaller cohort. It's about 20 to 24 students. However, we have other first gen students across all of our LLCs. It's still about 30% that have said, hey, I may not want to go the route of like my first gen identity. I want to go be in the nursing LLC because I want to focus more on my nursing experience. So we have that for our first year students. For our second year students, we have the First to the Hill Academy. And the hope of that is to have it's a smaller cohort again. It's 15 to 20 students that want to be involved in leadership, professionalization, and that are looking for that connection of a cohorted experience. And so we have sessions, weekly sessions in fall and in spring. They do the Dynamic Leadership Institute. We also have them do our career launch program, a partnership with Trio and us, and the Career Center and the Career Launch Academy, which is a 4-week intensive career prep program.
It's truly amazing.
It's great, and it's not for credit. I mean, it's not attached to a class, and so the students that show up and do it, they do it because they want to do it. And so we've opened that up and partnered with Trio, with ISEC, and different things. Our focus in that is to make sure that first gen students get in it, but the hope, of course, is to in terms of student success, is making sure that it's open. So we have that balance of cohorted experiences, recognizing that, hey, this may not be the fit for every first gen student. Maybe they are, like, hey, I'm in Greek life, I'm connected somewhere else. And then we have those workshops that are open. We were also very fortunate enough, shout out to WKU Sisterhood. We received their grant for our Make It Count program. And what that is, it's part of our academic engagement series. So we have those workshops. And for students that are first gen, now that's the only caveat of the things that are limited to first gen. These completion grants, the $250 completion grants, those are limited to first gen students.
Right.
And the idea of that is to help close some of those financial barriers. We know that we have a lot of students that identify as first gen that are also working full time. So if they're coming to one of our workshops, they may be missing out on work. Right. Or they may be missing out on a familial obligation or a meal or something. So that's kind of our...
We do free food.
Yes, we have Spencer's gift cards that we give out, but we use our new tool, Suitable, which coming to an audience near you.
Yeah.
For
By the
WKU.
time this is out, it should be rolled out to the university, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And so it has like a leaderboard. If you engage in these things and you sign up through a Suitable to say that, well, we award those top 10 to 20 students with $250 completion grants
Each semester.
each semester. And then we have a couple of high impact practice ones that students that want to go on conferences and different things. And so it's been great and of course for that pot of money it is for first gen students.
Yeah.
But we've learned a lot, especially about financial need and the students to kind of fit into that gap where they're not Kentucky students, so they don't have the tuition fully paid. They may not be low income and qualify for grants and financial aid, which we know this past time a lot of people didn't qualify. A lot of first gen families in particular that are factory workers, healthcare workers, the big three around here, around Kentucky, that are doing decent for themselves but still aren't in that top bracket. They're still your working middle class. A lot of those families didn't qualify for any financial aid.
Well, and with the recent changes to Pell Grant and to other federal grant-funded programs, like that will continue to be a trend.
Yes, and having that,
Unfortunately.
yes, and so like that disparity of like I want to go to school, I want to continue, but I'm also don't want to leave school with a bunch of debt, or what are my options, or hey, I'm here, I had all these great scholarships my first year, but now I'm in my second year, and those aren't renewable.
Yeah,
and
they're
I
just
need,
for first-year students.
Yeah, and I need that $250 so I can register for classes for the next year. So that's kind of like the we know it's not a lot. That's why we call them those mini completion grants, because we want to say, hey, these things are important. We are proud of you for not only attending class, but being engaged and maximizing your college experience, so that when you graduate from here, you can tell an employer that even if I don't go into medicine, which with my degree was the trajected path, I have a bunch of transferable skill sets from this major that cover this degree. So a lot of times people say, oh, you're not using your degree because you're not in that field. That's not necessarily true, because part of your college experience, you're gaining skill sets all the time.
Yep, constantly.
Whether that's networking, whether that's, learning how to train and be open, you are using those skill sets that you're gaining from your degree, from your major, from your general education, your elective classes, your involvement in Greek life, your involvement here. That collection of skill sets is transferable to any job. Now you have to continue to build on them, continue to be to want to be educated. But we want our students to, hopefully through Suitable and with these first gen programs, to focus on the skills and the outcomes that you're gaining. And how does that translate to this job description or this career field, so that you can see yourself in multiple spaces. You can take this degree, and even though the traditional route is to be a doctor, you might be an AI, I don't know.
An AI developer.
AI developer that develops a chat box that makes it easier for people to talk to their provider. So
gives them the language to have that conversation, because you, as that individual, would know, okay, this is the language the doctor uses. This is the language a lay person would use. So how can we bridge that gap?
How can we bridge? And that's the thing, like, and for even like me, having that imposter syndrome of not applying for that job, I wasn't even looking at the skill sets to say, hey, like, I have all those things. I just saw the position, like, it's not for me. But the hope is that through these programs, we can say, like, hey, I have the skill sets because I did this. And I have this lovely, Suitable co-curricular transcript that nicely lays out the skills and the outcomes. And so April is our Suitable coordinator for the interim, working on that. So
the Suitable queen.
Yes.
Something like that. Before Suitable takes over my life one more time, I wanted to step back.
What is Suitable? Can we start there?
No. I want to say one thing, and then I'll talk about Suitable.
Yeah, sure.
So I just want to talk about the college experience, and we've just reestablished the well-known fact that college is expensive and it's an investment. And I want to make, I quibble, get a little pedantic, and I say things like, oh, you can go see your career coach. It's not free. You already paid for it in your tuition, right? So people will say, go do that, it's free. No, you paid for it in your tuition. And I think if you're going to fight to get the money to come to college and minimize your debt, and you're going to do all of that, if you think that college is just going to class and making the grade, you are not maximizing your investment.
You're not getting everything you need to out of this.
It's developing your social capital and leadership skills, and that you do that through student orgs and all of the other rich and lovely and varied, wonderful student success and engagement efforts across campus. So that is just as important as the degree. Okay, now, if you want to know about Suitable, so Suitable is just a tool, but what this tool is going to help us do is to sort of capture information about the quote-unquote WKU experience, right? The college experience.
The outside of the classroom engagement.
Yes, all of those things. So Suitable allows WKU people to create quote-unquote activities. So if you're going to go see a campus speaker, if you're going to go see your career coach or your whatever, so all of these things that you might do outside of class, Suitable will allow you to complete those activities that we've presented to you in the system. And as a student, as you do that, you will build a scorecard, so you'll be able to see through time. Yes, so you'll be able to see through time all the things you've done. So we've connected competencies to those activities. So you could go into your scorecard and you could click on leadership and communication, and it's not leadership and communication. Anyway, we're designing this as recently. So you could click on that competency and you could see all the activities you've done that are connected to that, and you could get exact examples that you could put on a cover letter or a resume. Even years later when you've forgotten what you even did. It also has a portfolio.
I know this one's in audio only, but Ella is over here like showing off.
She's
what
all up
Suitable
in
looks like.
Suitable.
She's looking at the business one, so it's we're excited about it, but of course, it's just the tool, right?
Yeah.
What we're trying to really push forward is that idea of that WKU experience and having students maximize on that, because it's a gamification platform, which of course we know students coming into this space now, this generation, they're all about, and rightfully so, how can I get the most out of what I want? How does this pertain to me? And so we are happy to do that, but with our the programs that we're doing, kind of shifting into more overall student success, and how do we bring first-gen students, and instead of telling them, hey, put on this first-gen hat, no, how do you wear all your hats and navigate? How do you build social capital, navigational capital, and those kind of things to have the best WKU experience you can? And at a time right now where a lot of students are choosing not to go to college, over going to college, we're not losing our students to other Kentucky universities or other universities. We're losing our students, and a great portion of those are first-gen students.
Yeah. Well, because it goes back to what we talked about, right? Like, if you don't have a vision or a role model of somebody that went to college in your family, or, if you're from a really small rural town in Western Kentucky, you're not thinking about college. No. You're thinking about the farm season. You're thinking about, at best, maybe going and getting a certification like a CDL or plumber, electrician, those kind of things to build a better life for yourself. College is such a second or third thought, even if you have high grades in school.
Right. And the thing is, too, what's being promoted, right? And I think that's part of at this last conference I went to. We in higher ed are not doing a very good job of telling our narrative, right? Like why higher education is important. What are the skills that you're gaining from this? That it is an investment. Yes, it is a financial cost. Just like if you were to buy a car or purchase a home or whatever. It is an investment. It is a cost. But it has this value, right? And what's being promoted to students is like, oh, you can go be that influencer. These 5 things to get rich. And what they're not telling you is, well, that's not the story for the vast majority of people. Most jobs still have requirement of a degree. that's not going to go away.
Right.
And how much easier would it be to be a successful influencer if you had marketing classes
Yeah.
and everything else under your belt? So
Yeah.
And
to enable that.
And that's
Yeah.
what content creators and different things are starting to find out. Like, well, hey, I can, people are saying like, oh, college is a scam. You can go get all this information online. So me as a 18-year-old, fresh out of high school, I'm going to know what classes to curate and what
Right.
resources to curate to give me this education, be disciplined enough to do it on my own when my decision-making abilities, my development's not done. And
I was going to say, you're still developing
you're
that.
still developing. And now I don't have a mentor, I don't have a guide, and I'm just depending on all these people online that some are self-made people.
Yeah.
When I can go and have this college experience in a nurturing environment and have a guide, have networking. I also can have access to a meal plan and a place to sleep while I'm trying to gain up my skill sets. And I think that in higher ed, and now that we know that we have more and more first-gen students coming that are college age and trying to get them here, we have to do a better job of advocating out to our legislators and our different people the value of higher education. This is why we need Pell Grants.
Yes.
They don't need to go away.
Nope. Mm-mm.
Education shouldn't just be for the elite.
rich
If you
who can
have
pay.
great grades and you are brilliant, you should be able to go through and continue that education. And even if you're not, you should be able to have access to that next step. And the way that we do that is by having more funds, more resources, the programs that we have now. I mean, a valuable resource that we don't think about on our college campuses is the people and staff that work there. Not just your faculty,
Right.
but the staff that are having those conversations with students, navigating them to different resources, that are telling them about different things. That is a valuable resource that our students and first-gen students have. So that conference kind of motivated me in that way of not only telling our first-gen students our first-gen narrative and story to the people here, because we know these like even if you're first-gen or not, like this journey, some of this aspect. How do we tell that to the people outside of higher ed? How do you have those conversations with your family? How do you have those conversations with future employers and other folks to say, this is why the skills that I gained in my program are beneficial. This is why the sorority life that I participated in, that you might think is whatever, it's just fun. No, I'm learning. I might be the treasurer or the secretary. I'm learning how to put on events. I'm learning conflict resolution. I'm learning all these different skill sets that are preparing me for the world. And we're hoping that with some of this, that we're giving students the language to be able to share this narrative out. So that's the goal that we're trying to work on. And the one that we're excited about with First Gen Student Leadership Conference.
Yay! There we go. I've been over here ticking away every time to create a transition point for that. But you mentioned the great faculty staff that we have. You mentioned all of the resources that we have. You all talked about some of the great programs that you all do. But one of the things that we are really excited about is this partnership between Trio and you guys to plan this first generation leadership conference. It'll be this fall. The theme of it will be kind of like superhero theme. We're going with a little hook of unlock your first gen power. So from kind of you all's perspective, and Katie, feel free to jump in as well. Can you explain the conference and how do you want students to get involved in that?
Absolutely. I think one of the most challenging things about putting on programs on a campus is finding the time that works for all students. And so one of the things that we talked about, we need a 1 or 2 day thing where we can offer these sessions. It doesn't conflict with class time and students can maximize this experience. And so it was great connecting. It was natural when we were talking about first gen things. We're like, oh, we had this idea. We'd like to do a summit of sorts. And then, of course, Jimmy was like, like I just got back from this conference. Like we can work on these things.
Yeah, this is one of the things that I just absolutely adore about this job is that we come up with these ideas and that everybody's on board.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, we have so many faculty and staff advocates. We have to, I mean, and this is yet another example of everybody's on board and it's going to be amazing.
Yes. And kind of that we realize that a lot of our students maybe don't have that opportunity or the funds to go to a conference. But those of us that have been to conferences, it's rejuvenating. It sparks ideas to be around different people and to have this experience. So we're hoping to replicate that here, starting on a Friday afternoon. I've learned that not a lot of students have a lot of Friday afternoon classes. So cheat code, that's around the time to have some programs. But hopefully where it doesn't conflict with a lot of class sessions, and then we'd also have it continued on Saturday morning. We're hoping to bring in a couple of speakers that are first gen, and also tapping into our first gen administrators and leaders on campus. As April said earlier, our provost is first gen, our dean of students and VP for student experience is first gen. Casey Caboni, the wife of the president, is first gen. She speaks a lot about her experience. He speaks a lot about, Dr. Caboni speaks a lot about how that has impacted his journey, with her journey being first gen. I believe at least 2 of our academic deans are first gen. So we have a heavy first gen presence just in our administrators. So wanting to make that visible, but also having those content sessions, and to
build the skills,
to fill the gap, and I think that superhero theme is great. Shout out to our students that helped us come up with that, because we're old. I don't know what's cool.
And that's a segue into, it's going to be fun too, right?
Yes.
So the National First Gen Celebration is on November 8th.
Yes.
So that'll be at the beginning of the week, and this will be at the end of the week. So there is in the conference also some fun.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So the date is November 14th and 15th. Just want to clear that up.
And so we'll have like a social event, just like at a regular conference, because you go to sessions, you eat, and then they have some type of social networking reception. And it's great fun. It's also a great opportunity to practice some of those conversation skill sets. Networking and practicing your elevator pitch, like how do you introduce yourself, those kind of things. And so we're looking to connect with some other offices for sponsorships, making sure we have some dynamic speakers, and not just faculty and staff-led sessions. We're hoping to have some student leadership-led sessions. So if that's something that you're interested in, being able to deliver a conference session, and it could be on like your idea of like the psychology of higher ed, those kind of things, like things that are interesting and intriguing to you. We also want to build up our student leaders to let you all know you have great ideas that connect with other students. This is an opportunity for you to share out those skill sets that you have with others.
And I'm calling out our first gen student ambassadors and our officers for First Stoppers, our brand new student organization.
Nice.
They better be stepping up. So the pressure is on.
Yes, so we do have a new first gen. We do have a first gen student organization that will be launching this fall. So very excited about that. Hoping to tap into them for some social events. Of course, our trio, we are very fortunate to have partnerships with our trio SSS and trio SSSD. I think one of the things that we do well on this campus is that we take the initiative to partner, to work. But we know that you can go away alone, but you can go farther together. So working with you all, our career services, ISEC, and also our academic colleges that make up our first gen leadership team, hoping to pull them into this conference and have it be a great session for students, that they'll earn a badge at the end that kind of culminates these things, gets them excited about how they're telling their narrative, their first gen story, and also encourages them to seek out more opportunities after this. So we're hoping this is like that launching pad, or what is a superhero term for that? Like your origin story.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, your origin story of how you bust through and continue to rise, continue to excel.
Yeah. So, just kind of, again, reiterating the date, November 14th and 15th. On the 14th, it's a half day. Students, as part of the registration process, students are getting all an email.
Yes.
Yes, all students are getting an email about it. So make sure you check your email to kind of confirm the details, it fits your schedule, all that jazz,
Ella,
and to
when are we
register.
sending that out?
Well,
By the time this comes out, it will be.
have already been out and
'Kay.
announced. So.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So make sure you get registered. Again, Friday is just a half day in the afternoon. There's an optional lunch session that day, but otherwise we'll start in the afternoon, go until about 5 o'clock or so. We'll have dinner as a conference, and then there's a social afterwards. From
favorite
there, the social.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that is a great time. I mean, that's to do some of those skill building that
Yes.
Sierra was talking about, the networking, the sales pitch, all that
Yes.
jazz, right? But then coming back the next day on Saturday, that will be mostly a half day-ish experience. We will have stuff in the morning, and then as we get into the afternoon, students will have an opportunity to get tickets to the football game, to go and sit together in a section. So, that will be really nice to have like a first gen section. We're working on trying to see if we can get recognized at the football game. So hopefully by the time this gets out, we'll have that ready to go. So it should be an overall really good experience to help students build the skills they need to be successful both here and beyond college, to combat that imposter syndrome, to combat some of that burnout feeling that they may already have and before their careers even start, but also to get them connected to resources on campus, resources in the Bowling Green community, and just should have a good time.
Yes, I'm very excited about it. Please spread the word. Look out for that information, and hope to make this an annual thing. I think that's the other thing, like to make this annual and have it linked to our continuing our first gen celebration.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Alrighty, guys. Well, make sure to be looking out to your emails. We're going to be sending some fun stuff. I don't know what's already come out by the time this is out, but should we talk about the thing yet, or should we wait? The games.
If you're about to segue to a new thing, I would like to
Should we
toss
wait?
in, you can contact First Gen Programs at
There you go.
wku.edu/firstgen, or you can email us at firstgen@wku.edu, and we're on Instagram at IamFirst_WKU.
Alrighty. Reach out to us if you guys have any questions, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks for tuning into this episode of SSSD Beyond the Hill, brought to you by WKU Student Support Services Disabilities.
We hope you learned something new and feel inspired to take advantage of all of the incredible resources and opportunities available to you here at WKU.
Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode, and share it with your friends and everyone else you know. You can also follow us on social media for updates and additional resources. If you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover, we'd love to hear from you. Just give us a shout.
At SSSD, our mission is freedom to dream, empowered to achieve. With us, you're never alone on your journey for academic success. Take care, and we'll see you on the next episode.